Okay, this webinar is going to be an explanation of how to set up a district communication arts event using 4-H Online. So when you're logged into 4-H Online, what you'll do is you'll slide down here to the side on the left where it says events and you'll click on that. Then you're going to click on add event. You'll type in your event name. So I'll just say district communication arts contest test. And then you'll have a description of the event. So this is what is going to show up to families when they click on it in there. So saying something like this event is a test of the communication arts program setup. So we want to leave the program year for this year, 2025 to 2026. And then for your event start date, you're going to pick whatever date your event is. So let's say that we're hosting this event on March 22nd, and it's only the one day. We're not having an overnight or anything, so we'll just say March 22nd, and then you click add. You'll notice here in the upper right-hand corner that it automatically shows as testing for the status. And so all of these things here will be editable for you. So what you'll do at that point is you will go over here to the side, you'll click edit. And so then what you're going to do is you are going to allow people to register. And what I would recommend doing is enable credit card fee recovery. People can participate or can send in a check rather than paying with a credit card. The credit card fee recovery is simply to make sure that we allow, we get charged about 3% of any amount that we charge through 4-H Online. So this just gets that money back, so we're not eating that cost. And all of this is just covering the cost of the supplies for communication arts. We're not charging more than that. Then over here, you can go to coupons and you can add a coupon type. This would be a fee refund. And then you'll need to set up um, a discount type here. So we can do that through this. So it would be like EYC ComArts, and we would say event registration fee, and we would need to apply this to specific types of registration. And then we would need to say the fee percentage and the status. So we would make it live, or in this case, it would be testing. But for the fee percentage, you can say that you're going to give them a 100% refund, and then you would apply it to the different types. But since we don't have any types set up yet, we can't set up a coupon. Then you're going to click on types here. And for that, you're going to add a type of this. So you're going to want to set up a couple of different types. You are going to have to set up a type for Clover Buds. That is separate than for members. And so you'll want to make sure that that is there. And so then this would be Clover Bud Communication Arts. And then you can set a maximum number of registrations. If you think that you are going to be inundated with participants, you can say that you're not going to allow any more than 20 participants. You can say you'll allow 100 participants. That is up to you. You also can tell them that they are required to pay a deposit or not. And then we're just setting a registration fee of $10. We're going to set our registration start date. Here, I recommend setting that registration start date as the current day that you're making the event, and then your registration end date. And I would say give yourself a minimum of a week, preferably two, for that registration end date. And the reason I'm saying to give yourself that time is because things are going to change. Participants are going to reach out to you and need to reschedule. But this also gives us time to get that information to the state office. So you can get that information to me so I can make sure that you get the ribbons and medals you need for your participants. There are options for early registration and late registration. I typically won't set these up for a one-day event like ComArts, but if I do allow a late registration, I usually have some sort of a consequence associated with that so that there's like an increased fee just to discourage people from registering late. They need to register on time. So then we'll go back here again. If you look, you'll notice that that registration fee has changed. So you want to make sure, double check it, proofread. So then we have this one particular type we have an early registration. We don't have that set up. We don't have late registration. We're allowing 100 Clover Buds to sign up. So that's your first type, and that'll show up here. Then you're going to add a type for members. So then you're going to have junior communication arts. You can actually set this up a couple of different ways. You can set up with just Clover Buds and members, but I think setting up Clover Bud junior and senior communication arts will help. So, and then you would specify here second through sixth grades. Again, members, youth, you can set the limits on registration. You can set your registration fee. And then again, make sure you adjust that start date. So we'll go back to where we're setting that up and then where we're going to end it. And then we'll just add that type. And then we'll have senior communication arts. And this would be 7th through 12th grade. Again, you can set up however many spots you want. I'd recommend going high above what you think you're going to have registered for your district, just so that you have that extra bit of cushion in case you do get a really big influx of people that you weren't necessarily expecting. Again, going through that same process. So we're saying 100 senior participants, a $10 registration fee, and registration ending 2 weeks before the contest. So then when you look at this type, these are all going to show up when the participants go in to register. Now, if you go back in here to this details page, if you scroll down, you have this box called public facing event. You can actually click on that and you can enter district ComArts test. And I would recommend getting rid of the spaces just because that'll be confusing for people trying to enter that. But you can say District 1 ComArts, District 2 ComArts, Northeast ComArts, Southwest ComArts. You can do whatever works for you, but that way you can create that URL. Then you would just copy that to the clipboard and you can put that on your event screen. Then once you turn your event and set it up to go live, so if you set it to active here, like that, then you can click, copy and paste that in there, and this is what you'll see on that screen. So it's going to tell you what your deadline is for that, what Clover Buds, juniors, and seniors are. And you can literally, if you're doing this in Google Chrome, if you come up here and you click on these 3 dots at the upper right-hand corner of your screen under the exit bar, you can slide down here where it says cast, save, and share, and then scroll to the bottom where it says create QR code. And it'll generate a permanent QR code for that link as long as that link is valid. So you can then copy that, and then you can paste that into whatever event that you are going to create. So let's say I'm just going to make a new document here where you can paste that in. You can copy that into your Canva. You can copy it into a PDF, or if you're using some other form of, if you're using Acrobat or something like that, you can copy that in, paste it in, and so that will be there. So then this should show up for these individuals. So if you will again go back to our event, and we scroll down and we look at the types, some things you need to notice. Here, if you look under the registration details for each type, Clover Buds, the role should show Clover Bud. Junior ComArts, the role should show member. And Senior ComArts, the role should show member. If you're opening your contest to people who are not in 4-H, you will need to add another type. So again, we'll have to change the status back to testing. Anytime that you want to change anything in an event, you have to change the status to testing. You can add a type and you can change that to participant. If you have individuals who are not enrolled in 4-H, then you need to select participant for that group. If you have volunteers or anyone over the age of 18, so screened volunteers, this will only show up for them if they are over the age of 18. You would set that up as a volunteer. You can leave the health form the same, and then you would again, select the maximum number of registrations that group can have. Then in questions, what I'd recommend doing is you're going to just pull up BA 800 in the Google Drive. So I'll actually pull up the Google Drive first. And if you search in your Google Drive, it should pull it up. So we are wanting the most recent one. So this was updated in 2025. And so if we click into this document, The first one that pops up is probably the right one, but just in case it's not. Okay. It should say revised February 2025. That is the most recent version. So then you can actually, in your questions, you can create a type or a question for each of these categories. So what I'd recommend doing is opening this in a separate window or a separate tab, and you can make your windows use the nice Microsoft feature where you can actually have it click to the guidelines on the screen. And you can go in here to your question type, and you can say with a multiple choice option, you'll add that, and you will say, which category are you participating in? And then the report label is something that only you see, but the question is what the participants see. So this would be categories. And you can also tell them if you are allowing them to participate in 2 events, you can say pick up to 2 events. Okay. And so then you'll go in here and you will say demonstration, individual, demonstration, team, illustrated talk, individual. You'll add an item, illustrated talk, team. Um, Prepared speech, impromptu speech. Now you'll note I don't list team and individual for the speech. That's because there is no team category here if you look at the rules for the speech categories. So keep that in mind. All right, so we have impromptu speech. Then we would have interpretive reading, individual, interpretive reading, team. Okay, so we're just doing this for each of the categories, and I'm doing these in the broad categories. I am not separating out broadcasting and commercials and mass media. In electronic, I'm not separating out video, website design, and software presentations. I'm grouping them all together. So it's electronic. You can add all of those labels underneath there. Um, if you need to add that for your ease of making sure you have the things your participants need when you're setting up the event, you can do that. But for simplicity's sake, I'm not doing that here. So again, dramatic presentation, individual, and I'm trying to be consistent here, listing individual first and then team. But some of these will lend themselves more to a team effort, like the dramatic presentation. And then with the team presentations, I want you to keep in mind that you are going to have for any team, you need to have them list all of the other people on their team. So something you'll want to do is add an additional question for that. So something that's just good practice, as you're going through here, proofread these to make sure that you are consistent in capitalization, punctuation, things like that, just because that will make things much easier. Okay, and one more. All right. So then we're going to limit our choices. We're only allowing them to pick 2 categories because they're only allowed to pick 2 events to participate in. And then you can require that. But again, remember Clover Buds, we don't typically have them pick those. They do the pledge or they do the 4-H pledge one. So that you can allow them to do one of these others, but typically we don't list that. All right, so then when we list them to pick the categories, something you may want to consider is if you're telling them, especially if you have new families and you're telling them to pick up to 2 events, no more than 1 team and 1 individual, because that's part of our rules too. They can do 1 team and 1 individual. So then we'll add here, and we're going to have them put in multi-line text, and we're going to add that, and we'll say, please list all team members if you are participating in a team presentation. And so because you can have a team with the dramatic presentation, you can have a team that is up to 4 people. So you want to give them at least 3 rows so that they can add that. And you want to make sure, again, you put that into junior and senior communication arts participants. And so then this would be team members. And you would save that. And then the reason I'm not requiring this on this one is because if we are having them, if they are only doing an individual presentation, then they will not need to enter that. But you also can say, if you want to require this, you can say at the end of this, if you are not participating in a team, please type NA. And then they have to answer it, but they have to type NA. So that's something that you can do to add that here as well. This is also a good place where if you're having snacks or something like that, you can put a multiple choice option in there and tell them to please select all food allergies or sensitivities you may have. And then you can put in there that it's a dietary restriction. So then you would list like the big 8. So eggs, tree nuts, wheat, soy, sesame, peanuts, fish. You could put in there something like that, and you can require that for everybody so that they have to answer it. And you can also say not applicable. And you can also say other. Please contact county office so that they can get in contact with you about that question. If you're not offering snacks, you don't need to include this question. You can just delete it, and there's that red delete button, very handy for that. So then you just save your questions. And then do you need to associate any consents? For this, you do. So in this one, you need to make sure you include the media release because we do want to encourage them to take pictures. So you're going to add that, and you have to add it for each group. So you're going to add it for Clover Buds. You're also going to add the media release here for juniors. And you're going to add the media release for seniors. So once those are added, they'll have to go in and click on it. If you click on it, it is here saying that we have permission to use the photos that are taken by our 4-H activity photographers. And that allows us to take those photos and to send them out and share them. You also can add custom files. If you want to, you can add files here for each of them. So you can say rules for communication arts, and you can actually take and you can share this link. So you can copy the link here that's available to our families. And here you can say, please view this link to see the communication arts rules. And you can copy that in there so that they have it and make it visible to everybody and add it. And so that will be visible to all of these participants. So what you can do in here, you can also upload the rules. So if you were to download these rules, you could then go back and upload them. So let's say that we had, let's say that we had downloaded this file. We could then upload. Again, we'd have to have this downloaded first. You can save it in downloads. And then here, we would just select that to upload it. And so then they would have access to that file. I do not know how well ComArts will, or how well 4-H Online will cooperate with that, but if you click on that, then you can upload some images there as well. Then you can set up emails where it will send an email to different people. You also can add event managers. I would encourage you to please add me as an event manager and then add our business coordinator, Eric Dybing. So I will add him to this here. And that's because Eric can handle all of the payments. And so we're going to set him up as staff on this. And the reason that we're doing that is because any payments that come in via check, Eric can actually go in and enter manually that we've received that check. You can also add your admin in here. So let's say that I wanted to set up Andrea out front. She's our amazing, um, one of our amazing admins. And so she has permission to do all of these things. You can add her. You can also add your team members if your team is helping you with this. So let's pretend that Monica, if I could type her name, let's pretend Monica Fitterer is helping me with this. I can set her up as staff, even though she's not in the same county that I'm in, and you can give her permission to write on all of these events. And then she has the ability to actually access all of this, see registrations, and take care of all of those different concerns. Then when people make payments, that payment will show up in here and it will come up. It'll also automatically generate your invoices for you. When you have people at your county level who register, it'll show up here. And then we'll have the actual registrations that show up. So registrations, as soon as they start trying to register, if they are logged in properly and are able to click on that link, as soon as they start answering those questions, that will start showing up in here. And then at the end of everything, we actually can generate these reports. So that is how you would set that up. And then when everything is ready to go, you would change the status, set it to active, and hit save. So then again, you should be able to just go back to the beginning here where the details are, copy that link to the clipboard, Control V to paste it, and it'll show up right there. So you can click on this and register. They would need to register or sign into their account. And then let's say that we were doing this here, but what we would see here is because I'm an adult and I'm signed up as a volunteer, I'm not listed as qualifying because of that. If I sign out though, and I sign in as my other account, okay, and I were to click on these, because I'm an admin on this, it's not going to do anything. Okay, hopefully this has been helpful. If you have questions, please let me know, and I will do my best to answer them. Thank you very much and have a great afternoon.